Okay, people. So I am joined today by Shaked Berenson, who, what I mean, he's producer, CEO, right? He's does a lot of things in the film industry, and he's been behind a good few of the films that we have covered on the podcast. So it felt right to have him on for this episode. So Shakid, welcome to the pod, man. Thank you for your time.
Hello. Happy to be here. I think it's my second time, right? Or third?
At first, but
First? Are you sure?
yeah,
Feels like I know you for a while.
that just was me be covering. Like I covered a lot of horror collective stuff, and
Okay.
you know,
Well, nice then to be for the first time on this podcast.
it's good to have you, man. Because yeah, you're looking at all the things you've done. It's you know, you've been covering the horror collective stuff for a while. Like I remember covering Slaxx back in the day, which was a
Yeah,
lot
which
of
one is your favorite?
man. I don't, but I really enjoyed Slaxx. I thought that was great.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good one.
yeah, I did very much enjoy that one. And the horror crowd documentary was very interesting as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
just
before that, I executive produced films like Turbo Kid. I produced Biggest Spider, Gershon Scale, Tales of Halloween. Um, I don't know
yeah,
much
there's
about it. Extraordinary, The Lodgers. Quite a long list of films that I did be involved as a producer or executive producer.
mm, yeah, and you write as well, right?
Also, right, it's funny what I think there is a misconception of what a producer does, right? And
Mm,
a part of it is the producer credit can be anything from a person that bought the property, hired the writer, found the director, was there for every decision, every frame, and also could be just the manager of some actor that
yes.
leverages his power to get the producer credit and everything in
Mm,
between, right? So it's kind of hard to tell, but producing a lot of films with first time or second time or third time director and low budget, you find yourself that you're working with people that are less experienced. A lot of time it's the number two that taking a smaller fee or something to go into the number one position, so you end up doing a lot of you co-direct, you co-write, you co-DP, you gaffer, you co everything,
mm,
anything that's in the set, you need to kind of
yeah.
jump into those positions. So um but I like that. I think I try to think of any position I haven't done on set. It's really every aspect of it. I like to jump into the different department, during the production, just to be with the crew and take charge of some element, just for fun
Mm,
and to learn. It's important to know how long things take and how difficult they are, so you can understand them better when you're sitting in the office, right?
yes, I think that's a really it's a valuable thing, right? Because you have a lot of executives in organizations who have no clue how anything actually works. So they're making decisions on things that they don't really understand fully, and
Yeah.
I think that's not the thing. So having that understanding just allows you to be able to have more insight on everything that you're involved in.
Yeah, I remember we're shooting this film for Sony in the Bahamas, and I was quite bored because there was not a lot of reception and really not a lot to do. So I jumped in. I told the second AC, I just like, hey, let me pull focus on this shot, and it was like, well, to do this. It's like, sure, just teach me. Let's do that. and they had a lot of fun. Like, okay, let me, show you around. And, just, I think it's also shows respect to what, everybody's doing on set.
Mm. Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. So what kind of, because you've done so much in the industry, what was the thing that kind of opened the door for you?
Well, open the door. Hmm. Well, I started as a personal assistant. So I basically went with my boss everywhere and I saw everything, right? So I was thrown
Mm.
straight into the deep end and dealing with people like Indivania or Mark Amin. And just, I remember I was like, what was it? I was dealing with Guy Ozari and some stuff. So I kind of like thrown into the deep end and kind of had to, catch up on a lot of stuff. But I think that was a uh, very good crash course. There is
Yeah.
value in the protected environment of like a film school, to, kind of like nourish and like do those things. But there's also a lot of value in just kind of being thrown into it and just having to figure it out.
Well, yeah, because, I think schools, they're good, right? But they don't necessarily teach you how things work in the real world, right? How to actually navigate once you leave the confines of the classroom. So, what I mean, actually getting boots on the ground, you see things for what they actually are. And I think there's a lot to that, you know what I mean? Because the people that leave, university, college, they've got a level of understanding of things, but only theoretically, right? They don't know
Right.
how it actually happens, right? How you navigate things on a small budget, right? How you transition to the next stage and the next, and just all of these different things.
Right. It's I think there is a big disconnect between the schools and real life, and a lot of time people come out from school um maybe delusional about how things work.
Yeah.
Um and like I remember I was getting the MBA, like, look, all of the case studies, they're always like, how Tesla raised money and billions of dollars. Like, dude, the next 20 years of your life, you're gonna deal with like just trying to like hire an assistant and motivate you know, uh, it's like, what are we talking about here? And I
Mm.
think a lot of times um some people know how to take those tools and apply them in the real world, and many struggle. I think especially today that people do less face to face and less human interaction and everything kind of goes through screen, just like now. um it's a problem then. And schools, they try, but in general they get people prepared for the jobs of yesterday, not the jobs of tomorrow. It's very hard
Yeah.
to predict and create curriculum and attract the students and all that kind of stuff to actually prepare people for the future. And especially in our business, I mean, there's so many film schools and so many people go to study film and writing, and it's like, dude, for what? Like, what we are making way too many quote unquote filmmakers than needed in the marketplace, right?
Mm.
And then people surprised that they're not making any money.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of the thing is though, right? So you have the people that graduate and leave, and that's the point where you discover if someone actually wants to be the thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Right.
it's not that glossy, position that you may have envisioned it to be. It's a lot of hard work, right?
Right.
And it's a lot of hard work with no real reward at the beginning. So, do you want the fame, or do you actually wanna be a filmmaker, right? That's the big thing. So it's like those people that are down for the grind, you know what I mean? That's where they stand up, and then everyone else that just thought, oh, it gets me into parties and that kind of shit, they drop away.
Yeah, you need to have a lot of grit
Yeah.
to make it in this business. And like you say, a lot of people just kind of want the ego, right? A lot of people just
Mm.
want to hang out on set or with beautiful people on set. They're not really into the work, right? That's why um, I get along better with people that are honestly driven by money. You know, it's you. I think there is nothing wrong in understanding that it's a business and it's a career, and you need to create value to other people so you can have money in your pocket. You know, if you're not
Yeah.
creating value, then I mean, that's just the basic economics, right? You make value and then you get a piece of it for yourself. And a lot of um, it seems like almost like a distributor or sales or like a lot of like different words that are completely normal for every industry, almost like bad words in the movie business because you want to focus on the art, and what you have to say and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, you can say whatever you want. If there's nobody that wants to listen to it, then you know
Mm.
it's worthless, right?
Well, yeah, you won't be able to say it for long.
Right. Unless it's like, look, it's I think I think the problem in our business is that there is actually no barriers to entry, and a lot of people call themselves filmmaker or confuse that they're a filmmaker, but they're hobbyist. They're not
Yeah.
real. It's like, look, a lot of people doodle or do Bob Ross. It doesn't mean that they're need to walk around and try to get their art in a gallery, right? I take beautiful pictures of my daughter. I'm not, running around trying to get somebody to pay me to give them those pictures, right?
Mm.
So I think as technology change and make filmmaking more a hobby and a populist kind of um, art, it will be more of the way of the photography. It used to be that photography, you had to have expensive equipment, you had to develop it, you had to do all those things to actually have a good photo. And now everybody can do it, from the phone, right? So
Yeah.
with Sora and ChatGPT and all those tools that you have on your phone now, you can make your own film. It doesn't mean that it's supposed to be sold, right? Or supposed to be viewed by anybody else. Your enjoyment should come from the act of creation, right? Not the how many likes I get or how much money I get from it, unless you're a professional. But to be a professional, the a lot of people ask me like, what's your advice? What's your advice? My advice is very simple: put 8 to 10 hours a day into what you're trying to do, like a real job. Because a lot of people complain that they cannot make it, but really, if like you check how much they're trying, it's an
Mm.
hour here, an hour there. It's not really putting the time that any worker, if you work as a cashier in a grocery store, you'd be 8 hours sitting on your ass doing the job, right? So like, why, if you want to direct, it's you think you can invest, 3 hours a week and it's going to happen for you, right?
Yeah. I think that's the barrier to entry, though. You know what I mean? It's the hard work, right?
Right.
It's the ability to tell stories. It's the talent. That is the barrier to entry. Because as you say, anyone can technically make a film, make a short,
Right.
but what's the quality of that? You know what I mean? Like, is your story compelling? Right? Have you been able to get all the components working together? And a lot of time, no. Right? That's the answer. You haven't, because
Right.
you know that's not really what you want to do.
And the truth is, because like, again, if you use the words like, oh, is it good, is it compelling, the problem is that that's very, what I think is good, you might think it's crap, and vice versa, right? So
Mm.
um
But
I think.
I think with that though, Shaki, right? I can look at something and not and go, that's not for me.
Right.
But I can also look at it and go, that's been put together very well, right? The score's good, right? These things are good.
But you're
It's
talking
just
about a specific media of a film, right?
yeah.
But as somebody that looking at the market as a global, you kind of need to look at entertainment as a market, not a film or a short or a TV or a vertical. Um, people just spend 8 and 10 hours staring at this, and you try to get your attention, right? So, in the end of the day, if you're a filmmaker, your film compete the same with TikTok videos, tweets, Reddit, all of that, right? So you're really kind of competing for attention, and that's kind of the measure, that we have these days, right? Yes, you can go to festivals and win award, and everybody can clap, but to make it commercially, you need to make something that is compelling to enough people, and also have the ability to reach the right people that are the target market for that content, right? And I'm trying to choose
Yeah.
my words carefully, because again, I think that today it's very hard to put yourself in the box, like people, oh, I'm a filmmaker, but like, look, YouTube, uses the word creator for a decade now for people that make cat videos or makeup videos, and what is a content creator? Now people talk about content creator, and they don't even mean people that shoot a 90 minutes feature film, right? So, and I think we're all in the same sandbox. Like, look, on Bloodstream, um, obviously the bread and butter is feature films, but we're gonna have also extra features like old school, but we also have verticals, and we also have shorts,
Yeah.
and you also have podcasts, and we have all those things that people are looking for at the moment, right? You could have a lot of horror fans that they define themselves as horror fans that go to conferences and all of that, but sitting in the cinema on a 90-minute movie maybe not be their thing. They're more into the culture, and that's tattoos and music and everything else around it that they're consuming, right?
Yeah. But I think it's kind of like all those things can coexist, right? But
They
it's
have to,
just
yeah.
about breaking them down into what they are, right? So you're then finding the audience for those particular things,
Right.
and it's about telling the story of that thing, right? Why would this be compelling to this audience? Why would it be compelling to that audience? That's the big thing that you need to know and need to know how to do.
Right. And I think a big difference in our industry that I find from other industries is that when you talk about product development, and every film or a TV show, it's really a product development. Every other product and industry, they look at the audience and the problem first, and then going backward into the product.
Yeah.
This is the only place that, like, this is what I want to do, and then, like, oh, who else wants to watch this, right? Which is a much harder task to do. I
Mm.
always tell people it's funny. People are like, oh, I have a script. They're like, what's the budget? $10 million. Where do you see it? Well, it should be on Netflix. It's like just kind of throwing very general things. But the truth is that if you really want to make a movie for Netflix, right, you need to spend some time looking at what Netflix is actually making.
Yes.
Where is it making it? Who are those directors? Who are those writers? Who are those producers? Who are those production companies? What are those budgets? What are those themes? What are the pacing? What, like, you need to start with, like, what the holy grail that you're trying to get,
Mm.
and do your research, and have, even just for respect, like, spend time learning what actually they do before you pretend to, like, well, I wrote this and this is perfect for Netflix. You hear so many times, this is perfect for dot dot dot. Like, oh, here's a script. I know you get stuff financed by Lifetime. This is a perfect Lifetime movie. And it's like, well, what's your favorite Lifetime film? It's like, oh, I don't watch that crap. It's like, okay, so you don't watch that crap, but you just wrote something, and you're certain that it's a perfect Lifetime movie. Like, you spend zero time actually watching these films, and understanding what drives that company. It's a lot of that happening. And I think that the people that are
Yeah.
actually looking at it as a business, and doing the research, they do a lot better.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But I think that's the key thing, right? It's knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. Right. So it's just like,
Right.
okay, I like making films. I'm good. I'm a good camera operator. I can do these things. I don't know how to market my film. Right. So then find someone that can do that thing for you.
Right.
Right. Find the people that can do the things that aren't your strength, and then you'll be able to, achieve more of the things that you're trying to achieve. Right. Because as you said, if you want to make a film for Hallmark,
Yeah.
understand what they're looking for, right?
Right.
Because your script might be for a 3-hour film. Hallmark don't want a 3-hour film, right? So
Right.
what's the length of the things they usually put out, right? You know, what's the language they use? Because if there's no swearing in their films, don't have any swearing in your film, right? It's just breaking it down into those things when you're kind of trying to work out where am I trying to go, you know?
Right. And a lot of time in at least in the old days when we made all those films to like Sci-Fi Channel and such, there was very open, clear guidelines. You need to have a cold opening, and then you have commercial breaks. They usually start at 15 minutes, the first one, and then they have smaller and smaller intervals, and you need to
Mm,
have a cliffhanger, and all of that. If you just make a sci-fi movie and then you go like here, sell it to Universal for Sci-Fi Channel, it's a lot harder because you don't have all those things,
yeah.
right? And even if you look at it, it's like, well, somebody to cut commercial breaks if you don't have, if you didn't shoot it in a way that kind of goes to black and goes from black, if all your shots are kind of like overlapping images and stuff like that, you can't even break for
Mm,
commercials without making it feel awkward, right? Which, by the way, it's funny because now with AVOD and Fast, we're basically making all the movies like that, right? And we have a computer, or sometimes just arbitrarily, the movie just can stop in mid sentence and have an ad, because the movies was not made to have ads in them.
yeah.
There was never a thought behind it, right? But yeah, I recommend people like, look, when you look at the sources of revenue these days for independent movies, it's 100% coming from AVOD. So if you make a movie, and it doesn't matter if it's a drama, if it's a comedy, if it's a horror, if it's a documentary, try to look at your script first and try to look that every 7 to 10 minutes you have a good moment and a cliffhanger, and when you shoot it, talk with your DP and the editor and make sure that it's kind of like goes into a spot that um can be very naturally be placed an ad, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's really useful information for people, where depending on where you're trying to place your films, right? Your shows, right? All of this kind of thing, right? You have to think about that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, so yeah, you've worked on a load of films, but then you've also, right, you've done things like set up Studio Dome, and now you've got Bloodstream. So what was the compulsion to try and develop that aspect of things?
So the interesting part is that I started in tech. I didn't move to LA to be in the movie business. I came here to go to UCLA. Before that, I was coding. I was doing database architecture, and I kind of fell into film.
Right.
But I always had that, tech side of me. And after selling my previous company, um, I've been asked from a lot of people like, "Oh, what are you gonna do next?" And I really wanted to kind of take a step back and produce some stuff. And I at some point we were making so much content, I didn't really have time to dig myself into a specific project. So I made Slaxx, for um,
Shudder.
AMC, and and a movie for Sony, and then COVID hit, right? And I
Mm,
didn't. I 2 movies in post. I didn't want to really deal with the production during COVID, and people were asking me like, well, are you gonna go back in distribution, and what are you gonna do? And I decided if I'm gonna do it again, I'm gonna do it very different, and I'm gonna use my tech kind of hat to innovate and do things very different. And we built Studio Dome as a software that kind of helps to really do the entire supply chain of content distribution from A to Z. It's funny because depends where you are in the business, people look at it and say like, oh, like you can have indie filmmakers so like, oh, this is just like Film Hobby, right? And studios can look at it, it's like, oh, this is like whip media. It's like depends like where you are in
Mm,
your career, if you're a volume player, if you like, but really what it does, it allows everything to be under one roof. So it's from your right management all the way down to delivery, marketing, social media,
right.
collections, disbursements, and the natural progression was to, beside placing the film on places like Hulu and iTunes and Tubi and all of those, to start creating your own channels, both because there's just not a lot of opportunities out there,
Mm,
and we want to create more opportunities for our clients, and also to complete, that vertical, integration. So we bought Prideflix for LGBTQ content. We launched Bloodstream, which is my baby at the moment for horror content. Um, we have an investment in Encounter AI that does localization, and we operate for them channels in Portuguese and Spanish and launching in other languages as well. But it also allows us to do Bloodstream and Prideflix in other languages. So
mm.
really expanding. So yeah, so we bought. There was another announcement we're gonna make next week for another company we bought. So we expanding by both buying more distribution channels and also launching some of our own or partnering. And I think it's great, and it allows our clients to really have control of how the film is distributed, not having middlemen, not going through 10 different players just to get to the audience, and monetize the movies in more places in the world.
Yeah. No, I think it's kind of getting to, you know, the thing that we were kind of sold the internet would be,
Right.
because I think back in the day, it was just like, there won't be a need for TV networks, right? You can find all the things you want, but then every studio set up their own, digital platform. So it became the thing that you were trying to get away from. So having
Right.
like Bloodstream, you've now got all the, horror things that someone might want, and they can be housed in that one place,
Yeah,
which
and
is
we're very proud with what we built. Don't fool yourself. There are still barriers to entry. We still need to spend 7 figures on marketing just to get it out there, because otherwise, like, people don't realize, your Samsung TV will push you to Roku and Amazon and Netflix because they pay them
yeah.
fees to do that, right? And if you want to play, you need to pay, right?
Hmm.
So there is still barriers to entry, but from our end, we make it very easy. If you go to creators.bloodstreamtv.com, people can upload their short, they can upload their feature film, they can sign a deal just like YouTube. It's you go through the forum and everything, and you can have your content up within minutes and start monetizing it to the right people in the right platform, right? As opposed to, you know, keep calling your distributor or your agent and asking like, hey, did you speak with Pluto? What's going on? Did they get back to you? Kind of
Hmm.
chasing those deals.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, Kindle, as it were.
Kindle? You mean
You know,
the to read?
like yeah, you know what I mean? It's like Amazon created just the platform, the interface for people to upload their own book,
Right.
right? So instead of you're trying Random House and they're not getting back to you, Penguin and just all of these other publishers. Now
Right.
you can just upload it yourself, and you're away to the races, as it were.
Right. If you can find the audience, that's what people
Yeah.
don't realize. So it's a bit of a trap, right? Because you could do self-publishing for books or DVDs or anything, but you pay monthly fees and you pay a lot of fees. And um, if you cannot find the audience yourself, then nobody's going to find it for you, right?
No.
Um,
So yeah,
but
that's the difference, because then you take care of the other stuff now.
right, and but you become a marketer, right? So you think you're an author, but now you're a marketer. Um, and like, look, you can upload a full feature film to YouTube, and some people do it. But what they don't realize is that, first of all, um, you don't monetize so quickly. You need to
Mm.
have certain amount of subscribers and
Yep.
hours viewed and everything to just start monetize. Second thing, there is a lot of complexity in terms of like rights and the music rights and things that you need to solve, and they don't open those tools to anyone, right? You need to have a certain amount of volume, and
Hmm.
you need to do the marketing, right?
Yeah.
A channels that are successful, like we have a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers that we monetize, but the way it works is, and you can see it, like unless you release 3 movies a week, the algorithm is not gonna count you as in a very active channel. So what people do is they just put a lot of
Yeah.
just bad stuff on it and disappoint the subscribers. So like you need, just like you have a specific audience that expect a certain type of interview or a certain type of videos in a certain consistency. You can't just like, oh, I have 5 months that I don't, have time to do this. I'm just gonna
Mm.
upload cat videos instead. That's not gonna work.
No.
Everybody's just gonna unsubscribe and then I'm gonna watch it, right? And also the revenue is very low, especially if you have nudity, violence, and bad language. YouTube either doesn't take it, or it takes it with no ads, or it takes it with limited ads, right?
Mm.
So, and any one of those cases, you're not making almost anything. You can have millions of views and you're making $100. Um, it's not really as lucrative as people think. Um, Also, people like confuse views with revenue, but you can have 1 million views if people just clicked on it and didn't watch all the way through. They don't have enough commercial breaks to really add up those cents for anything valuable. So it's really a combination of number of views and average view time that kind of tells you a bigger, a more full story of how your video is performing.
Mm. Yeah. So by creating Bloodstream, you're now giving people a better option for, getting their horror content out there, as it were.
Yep. And the
So,
nice thing is that we can also advertise on the platform to pull people to different things, right? So if
mm,
if you have a shark movie that you just made, we can advertise it or recommend it to people that watch Sharknado, right? So we can kind of feed the machine, and really put the content in front of the right people that wants it, as opposed to, I mean, we all know the Netflix, endless, scrolling, just looking for something to watch, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But then also when you go to the oh gosh, what do they the thing that they're like, if you watch this, then you'll like this, right? That
Right.
section. It
And it's
Yeah,
it's uh
gosh,
it's hard
it's not
because,
necessarily pushing you the things that you would always like.
yeah, and like, look, it's easy to make fun, but it's a hard job, right?
Oh, for
Because
sure.
you need to think about like the amount of data that they're getting, and you think like, well, they have tons of data, but they don't really. They don't know in what mood you are in. They don't know if you're watching with your wife, or you're watching alone, or you're watching with some friends. Like, it's hard to predict. The same TV would play different things at different times of the day, or you can be watching a sports event with buddies, or watch a romantic movie with your wife, and it's very hard to do it unless there is a camera looking at you and actually really trying to understand your emotion. But everybody freak out about their everybody wants the TV to give them the right things, but they're freaking out about their own privacy, giving the information to do that, right? um
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It is that thing. But it's like, I think so many new things go on Netflix each week. And some of the stuff they send the emails out, and so they'll mention some things, but that's probably just 1% really of all the things that are going up. So then when
Right.
you're going, I want to watch you know a sci-fi film, there's so many, but
Yeah.
it's going to kind of push the major ones at you first, right? The ones that everyone is looking at. So it's like, to get a new indie film that not everyone's heard of, it's going to take you ages to get to that thing if you don't know the title. So
Yeah.
then you're just scrolling, and that's some of the difficulty of those major platforms. If you do not have a marketing budget to kind of let people know that's where you are.
I know, but that's where reviews and come in. And when I used to own Dread Central, um we had those meetings with all the staff, right? And um I keep telling them, I don't understand the point of writing a bad review. The
Mm,
whole point is that if you watch movies you like, you recommend them, and then you build an audience that like to watch what you watch, so they can say, oh, well, Friday I read what Kevin writes about, so I know what to watch this weekend, right? If you
mm.
just tell them what not to watch this weekend, you're not really kind of giving them the same amount of value, of like what to watch. So I always tell them, like, look, if you watch a movie you don't like it, just stop watching it. Like, don't write about it. It's like, what is the point of it? You're not doing a service for yourself or for the filmmakers or for the reader, right?
Mm.
So it's better to find things you like. And people forget, but that's what reviewers used to do, right? I mean, you went to Blockbuster and there was like, here's the list, and of the different employees, or that's kind of like what you kind of follow somebody taste because you saw that your tastes align, right?
Yeah.
um
But I think, because when I'm reviewing things, right now, there'll be things that don't necessarily gravitate to me. But see, what I try and do is give them a reference point, right? So if I've watched, say, there's a rom-com, right? I've watched it and I'm just like, not really my thing. But but then I'll try and break it down. So I say, if you liked, Bridget Jones' Edge of Reason, I think this will gravitate to you,
right.
right? It's similar to this film, this film, this film. So then, you can go, oh yeah, I like that film. All right, I know to check it out then, right? So it might not work for me, but I try and think, okay, it's probably similar to this. So then the people that like that thing, they know that could be for them,
Right.
and it's even the films that I like. Again, it's kind of like, all right, it's kind of like this. So if you enjoy this might work for you too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it not like trying to go, do not watch this thing, right? It's like, well, this film is similar to this. So if you enjoyed this, then you could enjoy that, right? Because I understand, there's a load of films that are very popular. I don't like the Goonies.
Right.
Everyone else loves the Goonies. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I might not like it, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It just
Right.
means it didn't work
It's
for
not for
me.
you.
Yeah. So it's just trying to let people understand what these things are, so then if it is for them.
Right. I think that again, since I have been in this world, with Dread Central, and a lot of the reviewers and the writers, they all like circulate between Blood Disgusting, and they're all freelancers and they're writing for different outlets. Um, while they were, getting screeners or watching movies, the influencers passed, and ate their lunch, because the
Mm.
influencers do exactly that. It's like, I do makeup, I show you how to do makeup, I recommend this makeup, people want to follow them and they buy what they do, which there was 3 decades of opportunity for people like, this is my taste, I recommend 3 movies a month or a week or whatever it is, and basically become an influencer, because now it's like, okay, well, what I recommend, I have a following that follows what I recommend, which is exactly what the influencers did. So I think it's kind of, you know again, I think maybe ego, or I don't know, something kind of got in the way of understanding that in every aspect and every type and every side of the business, you should be creating value, going back to our beginning of the conversation, and doing a service to someone, right?
Mm.
Because if you're just doing it for yourself, then it's a much harder um, you know hill to climb.
Yeah. And it's understanding what you're trying to do. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because it's like, I think some people are doing things because, they want to get invited to parties, right? They want to
right,
be around all the A-list stars or something like that. So they think, oh, if I do this thing, this will get me to that place.
right.
Right. And so it's kind of like, oh, you're not really doing it because you really love the thing,
Or for the
you
right
know?
reasons,
Yeah.
right?
So I think that's the big thing. It's like, why are you here? Right? Why do you want to
Right.
be in this space? What's your goal? What's your motivation? And I think you see loads of people drop away, right? People start something and then they disappear, and you can see when people are bought followers and likes and all of that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, yeah, it's understanding what are you trying to do, and then from that point it helps you better navigate those waters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since look, because what Bloodstream has been, it's not quite a month, right? It's been going
Yeah,
for
it's been yeah, about a month.
about a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So how have things been looking so far?
Things are going great. We have thousands of hours watched every day. Our subscriber base is increasing. Um, we starting to place some exclusives. So
Mm,
you need to subscribe to watch them, or also there's like fun stuff like extra materials and director commentary that is open for the people that subscribe. But we also have 99.9% of the content is free, and it's free with ads, and we don't have too many ads. So again, we're trying to kind of make it a good experience for the audience, but also have a return for the fans. It's a balance
yeah.
to have. My wife and I've been watching a show on HBO Max, and it's like every 2 minutes there is an ad or something. It's just frustrating.
Yes.
And it's the same ad, which like
Oh my God.
surprising me as
Yeah.
somebody in the tech side. It's like, guys, you're supposed to have you're supposed to check that you're not showing the same person the same ad more than a certain frequency. I mean, it's just something that you
Mm,
put in the tag that you put on your ad call, that I guess they're not doing. um but yeah, it's very exciting. And we'd love for more people to check it out and to give us feedback. There is a place to send comments, and if you contact us. And we try to have something for everybody, and we want to be like a good home for the fans and a good home for the community. It's
mm.
open and inclusive. Not another place that you need to email 100 times and not get a response.
Yeah, yeah. How how many people have kind of roughly uploaded their own kind of stuff?
So we're just on beta on that side of it. Um, I I'm actually not sure. I don't know. Can check, but at the moment, only people that Clark or Heidi or myself sending them to are the ones doing it.
Right, right.
Um, but we do have here, I see there is 10 submissions sitting in the queue, so must be a few dozens already.
Okay. Yeah.
But again, the more we talk, with filmmakers, and the more we, doing interviews like this, it's gonna grow. You
Mm,
know, this was just the first month, so we actually just sent the first report. I think also people want to see that they're making money, right?
yeah. Yeah. But I mean, just having any uploaded in the first month is huge, right? Because it takes a while for people to try to make that step to adopt something new, right?
Right,
Because for the last, I don't know how many years, but kind of Shudder has been that home for horror,
right.
since because everything was fragmented, and then just like Shudder kind of came around, and that has been the one-stop shop for films, and to
And they still are. I think there is room for,
oh,
more
for
than one
sure.
player. Yeah,
But it's like having people know there's something else, there's another option, right?
yeah,
That's the big thing. So it can take time for those things. So just seeing the amount of traffic you have in that first month, right? The fact that people have uploaded stuff in the first month, that's pretty big when you consider, you know, how
yeah,
many how much is out there pushing, Bloodstream and what you are, where, the things that you have and all of that kind of stuff.
yeah. I appreciate it. And Bloodstream is new, but look, we've been doing this for 20. I've been doing this for 23 years. So it's we're not new in the space,
Mm,
just new in what we're doing. And I think that helps a lot. There is a lot
yeah.
of trust, and a lot of friends that we have mutual friends, and people that can kind of like jump on the wagon even before it's leaving the station. So it's been really amazing to see the support we're getting from both fans and filmmakers and press and influencers, and it's been really great.
Mm. So what, it's creating that space, right? That new opportunity for people. But have you kind of thought about like where you want to be after the first year, where you want to be after, like, say, the first 5 years? Have you broken it down into like those kind of milestones?
Oh yeah, we have it's like, look, it's a funded venture, so we have investors, and we have milestones, and we have all the Excel sheets, and all that kind of stuff. I obviously can't like reveal everything on
Yeah,
a
yeah.
interview, but yes, it's a very professionally made venture, if you know what I mean. um yeah, we're hoping, and we have something, we believe in it, and we're hoping we're doing it right. And the plan is to build something great that will be sticking for a long time.
Mm,
Yeah, and a part of it is the verticals. We launched straight from day one with verticals. So everybody's talking about the micro dramas, the verticals. Like, okay, we have verticals. You can go watch them, and we're soon gonna start placing it also on other places like TikTok and Instagram, just to pull people
yeah,
into the platform.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think the variety is the key kind of thing, right? I saw today a TV series has gone up,
Yep,
right?
we have several. Yeah.
Yeah, and the new films that are constantly going up. I checked out oh my god, what is the name of it? For God's sake,
Wake Her Up. Yeah,
jeez,
that's a
that
good
was
one.
good. That was man, I didn't see it going where it went. Right, that was extremely well done, I have
It's
to say.
interesting because knowing that you like that one, we can recommend to you other things. But I do encourage people, not only on our platform, in any platform, if you see something you liked, add it to your watch list and click like or 5 stars or whatever the platform
Mm,
has. In our case, we have like a thumbs up, thumbs down. So we can recommend you things that are similar, or have the same flavor, because that's how we know, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, by that. I mean, you can tell by the engagement rates, but let's be honest, how many times you start watching a movie, it was boring, so you fell asleep, or a TV series, you fell asleep and it played 20
yeah,
episodes, and now it was the most boring TV show you ever seen, but now this is all you're getting because you watched 20 episodes, right? Um,
yeah. That could be a problem.
yeah, and what's funny? It's like there is this like Netflix, because people might not know, but it costs you money to stream, right? Every time
Mm,
somebody stream, you pay for the pipeline, and that's why Netflix started to have like a little button that says, "Are you still here?" Right? Because like, why are we playing in front of people that are sleeping? But
yes.
now that they have ads, they, you know, should, hey, we don't care because we play ads. If the person's sleeping, I don't care. Coca-Cola pays for the ad.
Hmm.
So it's kind of interesting how um, the business model and the tech drive each other.
Yeah.
You kind of need to the business model drive the tech, and the tech drive the business model. And with that, everybody's saying content is king, but um, there's a lot of things that go into that equation, because like, just as you said, you can make something amazing. If nobody knows about it, then so what? Or you can make something amazing and everybody knows about it, but if they don't have accessibility to it, so what? Right?
Mm,
We go on piracy, you know um, so it's very important to really connect all those dots, right, between the type of content, who is the right audience, where do we find them, how do we market for them, where do we place it, what is the right price, or free, and all of that.
yeah. Yeah. And I think that's like the added value, right? That's another big thing because, okay, if I'm subscribing, right, if I'm going to pay the monthly fee, why am I paying the monthly fee?
Right.
Right. And so I think it's like that because what is it? You've got the tier that you can get cinema tickets, cinema.
Right, that's gonna launch January 1st. We have a partnership with Look Cinema to put films in cinemas, and we're gonna be you can go into the cinema with the app as a first come first serve, or just watch it in the app.
Mm,
So it'll be new movies that are currently in theaters or in festivals. So it's gonna be a combination. I do want to check. So um, like, look, we um we just put this film and a bunch of other films that are new and exclusive, like For God's Sake, Wake Her Up. We see people that sign up for a day, and they sign up for I think there was a 7 days trial, and then they cancel, or and that's all right. It's like we all done this. It's like I
mm,
watched Survivor on Paramount. Like, I don't really care for anything else, so I would sign up for just a few months, and then once I binged it or whatever, I will get off, and then the next season we'll do it again. I think that's completely fine. We don't see a need to lock people into long term or anything like that. if people want to watch it with ads and want to sign up just at different times because of a specific show, I welcome this. I'm actually looking for a user. I don't know if you use the same email, but I can maybe find it later. Can give you some free subscription if I find you. Yeah. Anyway.
I did see, a lot of the horror collective stuff
Well,
on.
yeah, all the horror collective stuff is
Yeah.
there. Then we also have content from the Asylum, that makes Sharknado and Z Nation and all of those. MPI, they have great films. Welgo, they're kind of into a lot of the Asian market. We have, a lot of distributors. There's one called Dark Sky, there's Dark Star. So, we're just today we added, I think, 35 or 40 titles. So we're adding a lot of titles every day. And some bigger budgets, some lower budgets, some older, some newer. We have a lot of classics. We have about 150 or 200 classics already, including silent movies and black and white films. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good because I've covered a lot of the horror collective stuff, right? And not all of it makes its way to UK.
Right.
So, once now it's on Bloodstream, I can recommend, all my UK peoples that be like, that's the spot to go watch it. Right.
Yeah, and we
Which is
do.
great.
We just did the reporting for October, and I noticed there is a lot of different countries that didn't have access to a lot of these films. We have a huge fan base. I noticed in Canada, in the UK, in Latin America. We have a lot of subtitles and dubbing in Spanish, so that makes sense, the Latin America part. But we have just random countries, Romania and Poland, and people find the content, and I think it's great, because there are fans out there that didn't have access. The only way for them to
Yeah.
access it was through piracy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think I think the director of Silence of the Prey, I think she's Polish.
She's Eastern European, yeah. She's
Yeah.
from I want to say Slovenia. Yeah.
Oh, yes. No, that's right. Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
another
just,
good one.
oh, yeah, no,
Right.
I enjoyed, and she was very good to talk to as well.
Yeah, and it's actually her daughter in the movie playing her daughter. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think her husband's in it as well.
Yes.
I think, yeah. But yeah, no, so it's like now, if people from, her home country couldn't have it, now they can go to Bloodstream and watch it, right? So
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's really good for that fact as well. So it's yeah, there's a lot of great possibilities with Bloodstream, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm happy. I'm happy that you're reaching people like you, because this is exactly what we want. We want to provide that service, right? And bring that value and put smiles on people's faces,
Yeah.
or going like this.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
The good
that
old, like, tell me when it's done. I have a thing with fingernails and eyeballs. Like every time there is like something with eyeballs or fingernails, I can watch it, But Anyway,
might.
I should probably wrap it up because I want to get home and put the kids to sleep. And probably, this is early for you, right? What time is it?
No, it is 3:30 now.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But that's all good. That's all good. But yeah, Shahid, how can people, like, if they want to is upload, right? They've got films, they've got shows, they wanna, get stuff, on Bloodstream. What
Yeah,
is
very easy. If you go to creators.bloodstreamtv.com, all the information is there. So I can put it in a chat for you too. And then, I mean, obviously you can find it from Bloodstream TV, but that's a quick way to get there.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and there's a very extensive FAQ explaining every aspect of it. And if there is anything unclear, just contact us and ask us so we can make it clear.
splendid. Okay. Well, I will put that information on the webpage. So people,
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
if you want that, go to the webpage and you will be able to find out how you can get your films, shows, whatever onto Bloodstream, and a link of where to find Bloodstream so you can, watch it for free or subscribe and open up all those other benefits from the subscription.
Yeah, and we're currently both on web and Android and iPhone and Roku and a bunch of other places. I think PlayStation and Xbox is still coming soon, and some of the TV manufacturers like LG. But we think the coming weeks and months we're going to be in all those outlets. It's just a matter of QC and some,
Yeah.
technical nonsense, But yeah, and if you go to bloodstreamtv.com and scroll all the way down, you can see all the places that it could be found, and also follow us on social media. We have very new and fresh social media, so every follower count. But we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, on Facebook, we're on TikTok, and we will be posting. We're already posting what's new on the platform. So it's a good way to kind of have a feed of like, oh, I like this thing, or hey, here's a rewatch or something I watched in the past and want to watch it, or something new, or something you heard about and didn't have an opportunity to watch yet.
Oh, perfect. Tremendous. Well, people, all the information will be on the webpage. Make sure you check it out and bring some Bloodstream. Thank you so much, time. Really
Thank you
appreciate
so
this.
much.
Great. Awesome. Enjoy the
Thank
rest of
you.
your day, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I need to
Bye.
run to put the kids to sleep. Thank you. Bye bye.